Football is not just a game. For entire nations, it is memory, culture, survival. In some places, the sport carries more weight than politics, more unity than religion, more passion than war. To win is to feel immortal. To lose is to feel broken. But to be robbed by a single whistle, that is something else. That is betrayal. Nations enter tournaments with hope carved into every heartbeat. Songs are written, flags are painted, streets are filled with chants. A generation of players shoulders the weight of millions. Every pass, every tackle, every moment of brilliance is more than sport. It is destiny. Yet football is fragile. It only takes one decision, one call, one mistake. A single whistle can silence a country. Mexico City, 1986. A quarterfinal between two nations with history heavier than the game itself. England and Argentina. A rivalry scarred by politics, by war, by pride. For Argentina, Diego Maradona stood as both genius and hope. For England, he was threat, arrogance, danger. The match was tense, fierce, balanced. Every duel was war, every tackle thunder. And then came the moment. A loose ball floated high into the box. England's goalkeeper rushed out, arms raised, ready to claim it. Out of nowhere, Maradona leapt. He was small, almost tiny compared to the keeper. Yet somehow, his hand brushed the ball into the net. For a second, silence. Confusion. Did anyone see it? The referee pointed to the center. Goal! English players erupted in protest. Hands waved, faces screamed. They pointed at their arms, at the replay screens, at justice itself. But the whistle had been blown, the decision made. England's dream of a World Cup shattered not by a strike of genius, but by a referee's blind eye. The hand of God, as Maradona later called it, became eternal infamy. For Argentina, it was glory. For England, it was theft. And for football, it was the beginning of an eternal debate. What happens when a referee's call rewrites history? 16 years later, another nation felt the same sting. World Cup 2002. South Korea, the host nation, against Italy, a giant of the game. The Italians came with tradition, with stars, with pride. South Korea came with belief, with passion, with a nation behind them. The match was brutal. Fouls, tackles, drama. Every whistle mattered. Every decision felt heavier than the last. And at the center stood one man, referee Byron Moreno. First, a goal for Italy was ruled offside. Replays showed it was not. Frustration grew. The Italians argued, gestured, shouted, but the referee stood firm. Later, Francesco Totti sprinted into the box, fouled, tumbled. Instead of a penalty, he was shown a second yellow card. Red card. Italy reduced to 10 men. The nation gasped. The stadium roared. Italy felt betrayed. In extra time, South Korea scored the golden goal. Italy's dream was dead. Around the world, headlines spoke not of victory, but of scandal. Robbery! Disgrace! Byron Moreno ruins Italy! The players returned home in shame, but also in fury. For them, it wasn't just defeat, it was sabotage. The scars of that match never healed. Even decades later, Italian fans still whisper the same words. We were robbed! What unites these moments is not just defeat. It is the feeling of injustice. Losing fairly can be accepted, but losing to a decision that feels wrong, that burns deeper. Because sport is not only about skill, it is about fairness, trust, integrity. And when fairness is lost, so is the soul of the game. Two nations, two games, two tragedies, one whistle each time. England carries the wound of 1986. Italy still remembers the betrayal of 2002. For both, the referee's call was not just a mistake, it was destiny rewritten. The hand of God, the Byron Moreno affair. Different eras, same heartbreak. November 2009, a cold night in Dublin. The Republic of Ireland stood 90 minutes from a dream. They were not favorites. They had no golden generation, no global stars. But what they had was belief. Belief that grit, fight, and unity could carry them to the World Cup. Facing them was France. Champions of the past, stars of the present.
Names like Henry, Anelka, Gallas, giants. For Ireland, it was David versus Goliath.
The first leg had ended with France leading, but in Dublin, Ireland roared. Robbie Keane scored, and the stadium trembled. For a moment, destiny seemed possible. The match pressed into extra time, nerves everywhere. Every tackle felt like life or death. And then, it happened. A lofted ball into the box. Thierry Henry sprinted after it, chased by defenders. The ball skipped awkwardly, about to roll out. Then, his hand reached out, controlled it. A second touch, a pass, and Gallas scored. The Irish froze. The referee pointed to the center. Goal! Replays showed it clearly. Henry's handball was obvious. The protests were furious. Players surrounded the referee, shouting, begging. But the whistle had blown. The decision stood. Ireland's World Cup dream was gone. Headlines the next day called it the Hand of Frog. For the Irish, it was theft. The fury spread across the nation. Protests, petitions, even requests for a replay. FIFA refused. One call, one goal, and history would not be changed. Irish newspapers spoke of betrayal. Fans said they would never forget. A dream stolen not by defeat, but by injustice. 7 months later, another nation faced the cruelty of a referee's decision. This time, England. For years, English fans dreamed of redemption, of restoring their place among the giants. In 2010, in South Africa, they believed they had a chance. They faced Germany, a classic rivalry. Every duel was history repeating itself. And then came Lampard's moment. Germany led 2-1. England pressed, desperate, chasing hope. Frank Lampard unleashed a strike from outside the box. It soared, hit the crossbar, bounced down, clearly across the line. The English players celebrated. Arms raised, faces lit. The ball had crossed, the equalizer. But the referee shook his head. No goal. Play continued. The replays were undeniable. The ball was 2 feet over the line, yet the scoreboard stayed the same. Germany regained control. England's spirit broke. Instead of 2-2, it remained 2-1. Psychologically, England was shattered. Soon after, Germany scored again, then again. Final score, 4-1. What could have been redemption turned into humiliation, and all because of one missed call. The debate raged. How can this happen in the modern game? Commentators demanded technology. Fans cried betrayal. For England, it was not just a defeat, it was the end of an era. The golden generation faded, leaving only regrets. The ghost goal became legend. Proof that injustice does not just wound, it destroys. Ireland in 2009, England in 2010. 2 nations, 2 stolen dreams. One through a handball unpunished, the other through a goal unseen. For fans, the pain was the same. To fight, to believe, to hope, only to lose not fairly, but unfairly. The whistle, once a symbol of order, became the sound of betrayal. As years passed, these moments became myths. Not just memories, but scars. Irish fans still speak of Henry with bitterness. English fans still replay Lampard's strike in their minds. Because defeat can be forgiven. But betrayal lives forever. And both nations knew the same truth. A referee's call had ruined their dream. Russia, 2018. Brazil arrived not just as a team, but as the hope of a nation still haunted by scars. 4 years earlier, on home soil, they had lived the humiliation of the 7-1. The wound was raw, the pain unforgettable. But 2018 was a chance to rewrite the story, a chance for redemption. Every fan, every player, every breath carried the same belief. This time, we will rise. Belgium stood in their way, a golden generation full of talent, hungry for greatness.
For Brazil, this was not just another opponent. It was a wall between despair and destiny. The match was fierce. Belgium struck first, then again. Brazil trailed 0-2. The pressure mounted. Then came the moment. Gabriel Jesus sprinted into the box, ball at his feet, defender at his side. Contact, a push, a trip. Jesus tumbled to the ground. Millions screamed, "Penalty!" Hands raised in stadiums, living rooms, streets across Brazil. But the referee waved play on. No foul, no penalty.
Brazilian players surrounded him, arms wide, faces desperate, voices pleading. Replays showed clear contact. Commentators gasped. Analysts shook their heads. But the whistle never blew. The moment was gone. With that call, belief began to fracture. What could have been hope turned into despair. Brazil pushed forward, desperate. A goal finally came, but it was not enough. Belgium defended like warriors. Time slipped away. Final whistle. Belgium 2-1 Brazil. The dream was over. For Brazil, it was not just defeat. It was injustice. In every cafe, every street, every home, the talk was the same. The penalty that never was. Fans replayed the moment endlessly. Slow motion, angles, still frames. Each replay cut deeper. For many, the scoreline mattered less than that one call, because that call killed the dream. The wound was not just sporting, it was psychological, it was betrayal. Brazil in 2018, Ireland in 2009, England in 2010, Italy in 2002, England again in 1986. 5 nations, 5 tragedies, all tied together by one force, the referee's whistle. Not always wrong in intention, but devastating in effect. Each call turned dreams into nightmares. Each call rewrote history. Why does it hurt more than defeat? Because injustice lingers longer than failure. When a team loses fairly, fans can accept it. They can say, "We were not good enough." But when they lose unfairly, the mind refuses to heal. The wound stays open. It is not just about the scoreboard. It is about the feeling of being robbed. In Brazil, Gabriel Jesus became the symbol of injustice. His fall in the box replayed endlessly, burned into memory. Just as Henry's hand haunted Ireland, just as Lampard's ghost goal scarred England, just as Moreno's whistle cursed Italy, just as Maradona's hand mocked England. Different eras, different players, but the same feeling. Heroes turned into victims, dreams turned into nightmares. These calls live forever, not just in highlights, but in scars. Fans teach their children about them. Commentators bring them up decades later. Players carry them in silence. Because a trophy can be forgotten, but betrayal is eternal. And the referee's whistle, meant to bring order, became the sound of chaos. A whistle is meant to bring order. It divides fair from foul, right from wrong. But for millions, that sound became the mark of injustice. Not clarity, but betrayal. Across decades and continents, the same pattern repeats. One decision, one call, one dream broken. And the echo of that whistle lingers forever. They still remember Mexico City. They still remember Maradona's raised hand. For Argentina, it was genius. For England, it was theft. A referee's blind eye changed history. The World Cup lifted in Buenos Aires, while London drowned in fury. Even today, fans call it betrayal. The hand of God lives on, not as glory, but as injustice. They still whisper Byron Moreno's name with anger. A golden goal ended their dream, but it was not the strike that hurt most. It was the red card, the disallowed goal, the sense of sabotage. They had not been beaten by South Korea. They had been undone by the referee. For Italians, that night was not just loss. It was betrayal on a global stage. To this day, many say, "We were robbed in 2002. In Dublin, the wound still bleeds. Thierry Henry's handball, unseen or ignored, crushed their dream. They fought with courage, with unity, with belief. But one hand, one decision destroyed it all.
Ireland never reached the World Cup. A generation lost their chance. The hand of frog became their curse. Not a match, but a theft. South Africa brought hope. Lampard's strike brought equaliser. At least, it should have. The ball crossed the line. Everyone saw it. Everyone except the referee. 2-2 became 2-1. Belief became despair. Germany crushed England, but the wound was already open. The ghost goal still haunts every English fan. Gabriel Jesus fell in the box. A nation rose, screaming for justice. They saw contact, they saw a foul, they saw a penalty. But the referee saw nothing. Belgium advanced, Brazil went home. The scar of 2014 deepened. For Brazil, the whistle was silence. And silence can be crueler than sound.
5 nations, 5 tragedies, all bound by the same thread, the referee's call. Not always corruption, not always malice, sometimes simple error. But the effect was always the same. Dreams destroyed. Fans do not remember tactics, substitutions, statistics. They remember the injustice, because nothing cuts deeper than betrayal. Defeat can be explained. We were not strong enough. We made mistakes. But injustice cannot be rationalized. It leaves questions without answers, wounds without healing. Fans replay the moments endlessly. What if the whistle had blown? What if the goal had counted? These questions echo for decades, because injustice has no closure. Fathers tell sons about 1986. Grandfathers speak of 2002. Young fans still rage about 2009, 2010, 2018. The scars pass down, not just as stories, but as warnings. Beware the whistle. Beware the injustice. Football is not just about talent. It is about luck, fairness, and trust. And when trust is broken, legends turn to myths of betrayal. These 5 moments live together in football's memory, each unique, yet all the same. They remind us that destiny is fragile, that victory is not only earned on the pitch, but in the hands of those who judge it. One whistle can build legends. One whistle can destroy them. And so, the referee's call becomes more than a sound. It becomes fate. Now listen closely. You just witnessed how 5 nations lost their dreams to a single whistle. But football never ends. The story continues in you, in your judgment, in your debate. Tell us, was it destiny, mistake, or betrayal? Drop your answer below. And if you want to be part of the next great story, subscribe to KICKSPLOSION_TV. The next unforgettable chapter begins soon.